Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I am so very happy to be back with you on the Khadija Way. Welcome. My name is Rahma Hirsi, and today our conversation will be about the final principle of Islamic finance, and that is sharing of risk and sharing of reward. Join me. So a unique feature of Islamic finance or the ethical finance industry is where you share the risk and you share the reward. What does that mean? If we go into a transaction together or a business transaction together, we share the profit. Remember, we talked about this in our earlier sessions where Islamic finance encourages profit and abhors interest. And here, if we're going to share the profit and we are going to benefit from this particular transaction, then isn't it only fair that we also share the risk and the loss in case liability happens? Of course, most people will be like, but what does that even mean? And why would we want to do that? Well, if we're talking about ethical finance, we're talking about a balanced concept. A concept where not one party is always in the right or constantly at the top and the other one is constantly being oppressed. The mutual or consensual relationship here is based on the idea that as you benefit, so do I. And if there is a problem, then we share in that problem. Now, there's always an exception to this rule. And the exception is if there is an element of misrepresentation or negligence, then this does not apply. Because obviously it's not fair if you have lied, cheated, or hidden stuff from me, or were just plain careless or negligent. Let me not use the word careless. Let me use the word negligent because that's a legal term. Negligent in that particular transaction, then how then do I share the loss with you? You are not fair and you are not upfront. Let's look at an example in that regard. We get into a business transaction. We share the profits of maybe 50-50. And me as the party B goes and cuts a side deal with somebody and says, get me the worst or maybe the second grade products. And we are still going to tell my partner that we are getting grade A products. What is happening here that is problematic? You're misrepresenting the situation. You're misrepresenting the transaction. You're misrepresenting the product, right? And this obviously goes contrary to what we have been talking about from the very beginning of the Khadija Way, which is equity, fairness, transparency, and fostering economic justice, right? And so if there is an element of misrepresentation or negligence in this transaction, then the party that's been wronged will not share in the loss and rather will take all the reward. But if it is free from misrepresentation and negligence, then the parties will have to share in the rewards and they will have to share in the risk. Why? Because in ethical finance, they must be balanced. Islamic finance encourages the sharing of risk and it encourages the sharing of reward. Thank you for joining me on the Khadija Way. We have now finished all the principles of Islamic finance. We now have a better understanding of what the foundations of Islamic finance and ethical finance are based on. Remember, ladies, remember my sisters, knowledge is power. And if we educate ourselves, then we are better able to manage our lives and push ourselves in a direction that is worthy of pioneers, worthy of the Khadija Way. So please like, share, and subscribe on the Khadija Way, and let's keep these conversations going forward. Keep everything I have said in mind, and let's continue to engage.